stopwatch continually, so we'll test you this evening. So you have 3 minutes. Thank you. On the 25th of October, you had to instruct officers to make the statement about Manston more balanced in the Thanet economic growth strategy. Do you think they are listening to you? Because 5 days ago, this revised local plan was produced, which states, the council considers that the best use for this brownfield site is for a mixed-use development primarily focused on residential. This is very similar to the Stonehill Park plans, which is not a very balanced standpoint. Is that what the majority of you want? I don't think so. The document starts with the assumption that there is no reasonable prospect of Manston being used for aviation. Surely the council will not base its local plan on a report that does not satisfy its brief, that it should be able to withstand robust scrutiny. It doesn't. It has not been peer-reviewed and warns Avia does not guarantee its accuracy. It's not accurate. For example, they say the third runway will be ready in 9 years. It won't. Just ask the Transport Secretary or Heathrow themselves. Avia say that the report may be incomplete. It is. For example, in Appendix A, it confirms that River Oak will invest upwards of 300 million, but there are no models showing the effect of this huge investment on attracting business. Avia warns TDC that this publication provides general information and should not be used or taken as business, financial, tax, accounting, legal or other advice. But that is exactly what it's being used for. The local plan must be evidence-based. The Avia report is not evidence. It's an opinion, and it is seriously flawed. Eddie Trull clearly does not agree with the Avia report either, as he considers that Manston does have an aviation future. Both the Avia report and this local plan ignore that River Oak Development Consent Order and TDC will be paid statutory consultees to River Oak's DCO, so they cannot keep ignoring the existence of it. Bertram Dyson Bell, the preeminent DCO lawyers in the country, have warned of the danger to TDC of following such a policy. The best way to avoid legal challenges is to have two conditional alternatives in the local plan. Plan A, keep Manston for aviation. Plan B, change to mixed use and residential. With a successful sale or a successful DCO, Plan A will be adopted. If there is no private sale and the planning inspectorate or an inspector or the Secretary of State rejects the DCO, then Plan B is implemented. That is a local plan based on real evidence. In the earlier public consultation on the local plan, 82% of the Thanet respondents were for reopening Manston for aviation and only 18% against. The majority of the electorate want the airport. It is what the majority of councillors want, so don't shut the door because of the wishes of a few members and officers. Include the DCO in the local plan, keep your options open, do not allow yourselves to be led down the garden path, or should I say, garden city path. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. And yes, 3 minutes. Thank you.
Some councillors.
See you.
Can I now ask the Leader of the Council to introduce the subject for discussion this evening? Councillor Wells.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And for the start this evening, there's some changes to the documentation in front of you, which I think most of the councillors have had in writing, and there are some limited copies for distribution in the public arena. I'll just run through those first, please, if we could. So, changes to local plan proposed revisions. Page 2, policy SPO5, amend to 2,500 new dwellings. First paragraph of policy SPO5, therefore, will now read, land is allocated for a mixed-use settlement at the site of the four Manston airports as defined on the policy's map. The site has the capacity to deliver at least 2,500 new dwellings and up to 85,000 square metres employment and leisure floor space. Page 5, table 2, strategic sites heading add sites of 500 plus dwellings. It was unclear what the difference was between strategic and non-strategic sites. And again, amend former airport site to 2,500. Page 6, table heading, amend to other housing sites areas. Delete rows relating to Westwood and Eurokent, which were at 0. Amend total to 17,837. Actually, we'll come back to that again in a second as well. Page 7, potential capacities table, amend former airport site to 2,100, total to 4,000. Page 9, land at Manston Court Road, Hayden Road. Policy should make no reference to mixed uses, including leisure as well as housing. And page 22, Appendix B, amend titles of the phases necessary to reflect the other changes listed above. Sorry about that, they came out of a meeting with the Cabinet late last week. So by introduction, the local plan is a statutory document that is assessed by an independent planning inspector against government guidelines. The plan must be clearly evidence-based, and this report sets out the legal requirements for the local plan at this stage and the formal guidance which affects decisions through the local plan process. In addition, the local plan supports key strategies of the Council's own corporate plan priorities, in particular in the areas of housing, workforce, infrastructure and inward investment. The report sets out the main issues raised during the January 2015 consultation, then known as the Preferred Options consultation. These key changes are Annex 1 are the identity of additional sites to meet the increased housing requirement. 2, the Council's current evidence on the future of the Manston Airport site. 3, identification of key road schemes to be provided alongside development. 4, to invite proposals for sites to be considered as local green space. 5, amended location for the proposed Thanet Parkway station. And 6, proposals for adopting new national technical standards for water efficiency, internal space, accessible and adaptable accommodation. There is accompanying consultation relating to sustainability appraisal and strategic environmental assessment and habitat regulations assessment, the draft infrastructure delivery plan and local green space. The report also lists the changes to the local plan timetable, and these are to be found on agenda item page 8E. The Thanet Transport Strategy, jointly prepared by Kent County Council and Thanet District Council, which supports the draft local plan, will be the subject of a separate report and a later consultation. This is because, logically, at the end of the consultation on the main local plan that is about to begin, hopefully in January, it will only then be absolutely clear what the road requirements are for that plan as agreed, and that can only be published and consulted upon once the local plan itself is out in a more final form. In previous iterations of the plan, there was a comment and criticism that the infrastructure plan and the sustainability appraisals weren't included in the documentation. However, this time the draft infrastructure plan will be available for consultation at the same time in January as the local plan as it stands, and the sustainability appraisals will form both Annex 4 and Annex 5 of that document and of this document as well. Slightly confusing, but we are required to publish both the proposed revisions, which are Agenda 4, and the old sustainability appraisals, which are at Agenda 5, and that's as a result of some legal argument following stages of the sustainability appraisals in other local plans, such as that of Canterbury, and these have not been published previously to the public, but will be part of the consultation for this particular exercise. One thing that I think has already attracted attention and comment in the course of this evening is the future of the airport site. I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more about that as the evening goes on. If the airport site, partially brownfield, is not included for housing, we do have to be aware that given the housing numbers that we are currently facing, that probably would therefore mean an additional 180 acres of other greenfield site would be needed to actually provide the number of housing that take us up to where we are currently likely to need to be. Tonight, members are not agreeing to any full draft local plan. They are being asked to agree to a consultation taking place on some changed aspects of the local plan as it has previously been presented. The report gives a headline housing figure of 17,140 homes, but existing permissions, completed development, windfalls and empty homes account for some 7,840 of this total, leaving the need in this particular set of iterations to find land for an additional 9,300 homes. The report recommends that OSP recommend to the Cabinet that 1. The proposed revisions of the draft local plan and the accompanying sustainability appraisal, strategic environmental assessment, habitat regulation assessment reports be all agreed for consultation purposes for a period of 6 weeks, and that the appropriate amendments to the local development scheme to be agreed as listed in the report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.